Hello Alexis, and welcome to Dia's Do-It-Yourself Fitness. I want to take the time out to thank you for joining us. I think you will be pleased. I know you will be pleased. And if you have not looked at your workout yet, I know you'll be pleased when you look at it. I also like to just go to the gym with my client once just to make sure that they're handling everything properly. But in this case, in your case, you have a trainer, and I guess we can talk if he discussed proper form and everything with you, but that's the whole purpose of me doing this video anyway. So I guess we can just talk and figure out if I need to make any adjustments to your routine or not, or if you're all good with it. So I'm going to do this video in 2 parts, and hopefully I can edit it down so it just won't seem so long. But the purpose of this video is to show you the demonstrations so that you will be able to do them without the video. You're not going to be able to use the video like an aerobics tape where I'm going to go through the whole thing as though I'm in the gym. I'm just going to be demonstrating some exercises for you. So the first thing that I want to tell you again was that I'm going to do this in 2 parts. So the first part I'm going to do standing exercises, and then the second part will be on the floor. So in order to get this video to you as soon as possible, I have scratched just going to the gym, and I will do my best to demonstrate what I can, or which could be demonstrated better in the gym here at home. So if you have any questions about that stuff, just let me know, and we can move on from there. So I guess now we can begin. And the standing exercises that I gave you were the goblet squat, the lateral raise, the alternating dumbbell curls, dumbbell row, straight leg deadlift, sumo squat or pile squat, dumbbell squat, and dumbbell kickbacks. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate for you tonight. So first off, the goblet squat, excuse me. So what you want to do is make sure that, number one, when you're doing performing a squat, that your feet are shoulder width apart, and that means that your feet are right underneath your shoulders, and everything, your thighs and everything should align up with your shoulders. So your feet are underneath your shoulders, shoulder width apart. You also want to make sure that your core is braced, and that includes your stomach, your abs, your lower back, and your glutes. And when you tighten your abs and you tighten your glutes, your lower back is supported. And that also initiates the movement of pushing your hips forward, because that's how we are supposed to be standing. That's our proper posture. So you want to just make sure that when you're performing your squat, your glutes are tight, your hips are pushed forward, and your abs are tight as well. So now the goblet squat is a little bit like, I guess, the goblet that Little John had, if you're familiar with Little John. But it's, you hold it the way the cup is, you hold it like that. So I'm going to use a mock dumbbell just to perform the goblet squat for you, or goblet. Goblet squat. Okay. So you'll be holding the dumbbell like this, okay, and your feet are shoulder width apart, and I'm going to perform this from the side. So a few tips that you do want to remember is that you want to find your heels and put the pressure on your heels and not your knees when you begin to initiate your squat. And you also want to pretend that you're having a seat. You can do that by pretending you're about to sit down, okay? Or you can do that by just simply pushing your hips back, which I find works better. because it totally concentrates all the pressure that you need to put on your knees. It directs it there. So when you think about pushing your hips back, I want you to think that you have like a little cabinet hinge that's placed at the top of your thigh and at the bottom of your butt. And that releases your hips back, or releases your torso, your upper torso, forward. And you have the pressure there, and you want to make sure you maintain that pressure in your heel, and then you go down as much as you can. And you come up. So when you come up, that movement is simply you just pushing your hips forward. Okay, so I'll demonstrate that again. Feet shoulder width apart. Push your hips back. And then you go down as much as you can. And then you just push your hips forward, and you're back to starting position. Okay, so that's the goblet squat. And the next exercise that I'm going to show you is called the lateral raise. And I'm actually going to do that seated, but explain how to do that standing so that you can see what's going on. Okay, so you have 2 dumbbells here, and you're holding them, and your palms are going to be facing your thighs. Alright? So your hands, your feet are shoulder width apart. You always want to brace your core, make sure that your hips are pushed forward, and that will happen by you just tightening your glutes. When you tighten your glutes, you'll feel everything else just come into alignment. So just follow that and make sure everything is tight. So the lateral raise means you would hold the dumbbells and bring them up and then come back down. Bring them up and come back down. Bring them up and come back down. And that's a shoulder exercise. Come back down. Okay? So that's pretty simple. It's not hard at all. But you just want to make sure that you are, your core is braced. Because when that exercise starts to get the burn, you start to feel the burn, you're going to need the support of your core so that you don't strain the rest of your body trying to lift the weights up to the side. And then you just come back down. Okay? So that's the lateral raise. And now we have the alternating dumbbell curl. And I can do that sitting down as well. So again, you want to make sure your core is tight. You want to make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart. And you want to make sure your hips are pushed forward. Because your core supports that. So that you're not straining your neck trying to come up. So that you're not, going like this or going like this. You need to maintain your contact with the sides of your body, with your ribs, as you lift the dumbbell. Okay, so I don't have dumbbells here, but I think you get the point. Okay, so feet are shoulder width apart, and you just want to maintain contact with the sides of your ribs, and you lift. Core is tight, everything is tight, glutes are tight, and we just lift. Alternating dumbbell curl. And the next exercise is called the dumbbell row. So I don't have a bar here, but let's see. we're going to pretend that this is a barbell. So what you want to do in the dumbbell row is make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart. And that's going to work your upper back. And I put that in your routine, the body parts that are being worked. And I associated it with the movements. So you want to make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart. You want to make sure that you lean over just like you're doing when you're about to squat. But we're not going to go down. We're just going to lean over. Your back arches naturally. You don't want to, make an arch, but just bend over and let it arch naturally. And then you bring the barbell up, right underneath your breast, and then you bring it down. Up, down. Up, down. And you want to remember to keep your core tight, keep your glutes tight, keep your stomach tight, because you need to support your lower back during this exercise. And that is the dumbbell row. The next exercise I have for you to do is called the straight leg deadlift. And I want you to use dumbbells. So it's actually called dumbbell straight leg deadlift. And I'm going to get some mock dumbbells. Okay. So again, when you do the deadlift, it's the same principles as when you're performing the squat. And this also works your lower back, which is why I put it in under back. I think I have back and biceps, yeah. You're doing back and biceps. So that's why I put the deadlift under back. But you will also feel a stretch in your hamstrings as well. And it also works your glutes. Okay. So again, the same principles. What you want to do is make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart. Okay. Right and underneath your shoulders. And then what you're going to do is pretend that those hinges are there. But instead of bending our knees, we're going to keep them straight. So you want to make sure that you're pushing your hips back so that you're not on your knees. Okay? So starting position for the straight leg dumbbell deadlift is that your hands and the dumbbells are facing your quadriceps. Okay? So I'm going to perform it in the front view for you, and then do a side view. Feet are shoulder width apart, and the hinges have released us, our upper torso to lean forward. Our pressure is on our heels, and we're going to go down as far as we can go. And to come back up, you use the same concept as you use when you come up from the squat. You just push your hips forward. And that is the dumbbell straight leg deadlift. Okay? So for the side view, you're just going to let the hinges release. You're going to find your heels and keep that pressure on your heels and come over. And when you want to come up, you just push your hips up, or just squeeze your glutes and your hips will push forward. Okay? And that is the dumbbell straight leg deadlift. So now we have the next standing exercise, and that's the sumo squat. Or they call it the Pele squat, I believe, because that's a dance move. But as you know, if you have ever seen Japanese sumo wrestlers, when they begin to fight, they come out like that. So that is how you want to have your feet shoulder width apart, but sort of like you're standing slew-footed. Okay? So your feet are shoulder width apart. And again, this is a squat. So your hips are pushed forward. Okay?